we're in the middle of baseball season, and there's nothing better than minor league baseball. And here in San Antonio, we have the San Antonio Missions. I'm going to admit something that might make me look and feel a little bit less like a native San Antonian and South Texan. Stick around. So they say the San Antonio missions have been around since like 1888, right? So they were around 90 something years before I was born. I was born in 81. But I have something to admit here. I've only been to like maybe two San Antonio mission games in my whole life. And as a native San Antonian, born and raised here, I feel like it's something I probably should do more often. And I feel like it's something that I should probably appreciate a little bit more often. Now, I went there mainly when I was a kid. Okay, I did. I went there, I think, twice or three times when I was a kid. One time was to see Fernando Valenzuela play. He was down here on a rehab assignment or something in San Antonio. So I went to see Fernando pitch as a kid. But and then I think we went to a couple more games after that because I was a baseball kid. I was a little league baseball kid. Admittedly, I have not been to a missions game in recent years. Probably in, good God, well over 20 years, I guess. Am I missing something? I mean, really, am I missing something with the missions? I feel like I should be. And granted, I don't go to a lot of sporting events anymore because my schedule just doesn't allow it. But maybe I should. I mean, like the Spurs just finished up a great run into the NBA Finals. Didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to, but and as a baseball fan, I feel like I'm being a little bit almost treasonous in a way, or unloyal to my city by not going to see the San Antonio Missions. And I want to ask you if you've gone to a Missions game lately, and when was the last time you went to a San Antonio Missions game? Now, it's a lot of fun. Look, there's no doubt, but minor league baseball is a lot of fun. When I lived in California as a young adult, we know that whole story. You know how I left Texas and went to Fresno and went to California for a little while for several years, and then came back to Texas years later, many years later. But I left. I wasn't in California all that long. Okay, now see, I'm trying to California wash my story. But anyway, it happens. But when I was out in California, I went to a school to teach me how to be a baseball umpire, and eventually went to Florida to go to a baseball umpire school down there, and thought that I wanted to be a baseball umpire. And so I ended up doing a lot of high school, a lot of college level games, low college level games as an umpire. I still got it. Still got it. You know. But yeah. So anyway, long story short, I have a long history of baseball, and I find that I have not been to a game here in San Antonio, and since I was a kid, I think I need to change that. But what about the history of the San Antonio Missions? I mean, obviously there was the Dodgers era, which was probably the longest standing era. From what I'm reading here, it was 1977 to 1988, which was like a 21-year stretch. And Oral Hershiser, that's who it was. It was Fernando Valenzuela, and then we went to see Hershiser pitch. That's who it was. I did not know that Mike Piazza made a stint here in San Antonio. But now I think they're with the Mariners or the Dodgers or the Padres or something. See, I don't even know. I don't even know enough to talk about this. And what is the experience nowadays Now, granted, I used to listen at the games on the radio because I'm a radio baseball kind of guy. Was it on KKYX? I used to listen at the Missions baseball on KKYX. If you remember this, maybe I'm wrong about it being on KKYX, but I do. Seems like I remember it being on KKYX. So I used to listen to a lot of the games at night when I was out there playing, hitting rocks and stuff in the driveway out in the country. What am I missing? As a fan of minor league baseball, as a fan of baseball, why do I always just say there's a million other things I can be doing than going to a Missions game when I probably ought to be going to a Missions game? There, have you ever been to a minor league game? Minor league baseball is fun. When I lived in Fresno, I used to go to the Bees, the Fresno Bees. Was it the Bees? Fresno. I think it was the Fresno Bees. Maybe Fresno something. They played at Chansey Park there in Fresno. I used to go to their games a lot. Then when my wife and I when we lived in Corpus, I went to the Hooks games, a few of those. When we lived in Austin, we went to the Round Rock Express games, which Round Rock there at the Dell Diamond has a beautiful, beautiful stadium. That we were invited to go up there once. We got to meet with this executive chef that was kind of over the experiences and stuff there, and give us some great burgers and all sorts of stuff. It was great. It was a wonderful time. I need to go and find out what is drawing people to the San Antonio Missions, and what is keeping people tuned into the San Antonio Missions, because the missions are definitely a part of this city. And I think we should support them. And I feel a little guilty for not supporting the missions more than I do. I mean, I remember Dan Cook on the TV when I was a kid, Ken's Five. Occasionally we would watch KSAT, Greg Simmons. There was always a San Antonio mission spot on the sports because it was local. It was real. Maybe I need to go back out there. Maybe I need to check this out. But in the last segment, I was talking about the San Antonio Missions. There is nothing like the feel of minor league baseball. Nothing at all. The smell of the grass, the food, the cheers, the up close and personal. I always tell people, I'm a big fan of IndyCar. I always tell people minor league baseball and IndyCar have a lot in common, and that's accessibility. Sometimes NASCAR and Formula One, as much as I love them, I'm not a big NASCAR fan, but not anymore. But accessibility is key. You have to keep the tickets affordable. You have to keep the experience relatable. And there's something relatable about minor league baseball. There's something about the smell of the grass, the food, the chatter, the I can't make that sound. How'd I do it? When it hits the bat, the ball hits the bat. Some fat ass umpire out there. You remember back in the day, the umpires, we used to wear balloons. We had these balloons that we would, now we wear these chest. I haven't done it in years, but I was actually very big into umpiring baseball. There's some photos. I'll share some photos with you guys. But I love baseball. And the San Antonio Mission seemed to be part of this community. So my question to you is, when was the last time you went to a Missions game? Why did you go to a Missions game? Who were they playing? And what was the experience like? Maybe we'll get somebody from the Missions on here and we'll have a conversation about it. All right, take care, everybody. Hey, I'm Matt, and this channel is South Texas, and we are South Texas. We're territorial in the right way, right? And I want to know what you think of this show. I want to know what you think of this podcast and this whole setup. If you're liking something you see here, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share, and support our sponsors if we ever have any. But anyway, I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you around. Take care.